On this episode, Ben showcases Truman 2038 LLGT27 variety and the agronomic characteristics of LLGT27 soybeans. Don't delay, January 15th is the last day to take advantage of 0% financing through John Deere Financing. Stick around for the end. We have exciting news for the University of Iowa's Stead Family Children's Hospital.
Hi, this is Joe Merschman. Welcome to Cup of Joe, episode number 24, season 2. Today we have our regulars back, Tommy, Turk, and Ben, and we want to share the latest information from this past week. Let's start off with Turk.
Some good news this week in the trade issue with China. Vice Premier Liu He is coming on Monday for supposedly a signing of phase 1 of the trade deal with China on Wednesday. So that'll it's finally gonna get some good news, and it sounds like it's going to be a lot of good things. We'll see all the details, I'm sure, immediately after that signing. But it sounds like it could be 40-50 billion in sales to China, and China's already been buying a lot, so I'm sure there's going to be more. And I think pork's going to be a big part of that as well. So that's going to be good for farmers. And the other thing is obviously this winter storm that's come across from Kansas to Michigan and dropping large amounts of rain to the south and freezing rain and ice up across northern Missouri and Iowa, and then snow to the north. So it's going to be a lot of things going on. But again, it is winter in Iowa, and to be expected, I guess.
We've been spoiled already, haven't we, though?
Oh, yeah, we have.
Well, January is the typically the coldest month of the winter, and so we're going to probably experience a little bit of that, so that's normal.
I don't even have my snowblower on yet.
I'm ready, Turk. I'm ready for spring, too.
Yeah, no kidding.
Ben, what do you have?
So I've gotten a few questions this week. As we know here, in our previous past, our 1438 Liberty Link Trumans were probably our number one seller. We sold a pile of Trumans. It's a bean that we were talking about before before we were shooting here, that it was kind of like everybody's security blanket. They just knew that Truman was a good standing, good yielding, you could place it anywhere style bean. And they want to know what is the best replacement for that. So I pulled our data sheets out from where Joe and I make selections from, and the information that I have on this is identical to what our seed guide has, but basically it links the Truman in with where everything else was at. So when we're looking at all this data from our entire lineup of all the Group 3 stuff put together, there are plenty of contenders in our lineup that match up with where our Truman was for placement and yield. So one of the things that everybody really, really liked about the Trumans in the past is they were short bush-style bean, right? The new Truman 2038 LLGT27 has the same height. It has an extremely similar lodging score. Yield potential for that Truman is, I would say, as good, if not better, for 2 reasons. One of the main spots that we sold the Trumans was in Missouri, and Missouri has a super sweet spot. I mean, when we look at all the locations, the 22 locations of testing that we do on this, and the Truman was actually where it fits in the lineup. It was actually done in 2 different testings, so 2 different, how do I put that? We're in 2 different trials, so technically it was tested 44 times.
Okay.
And that Truman is just as good as what, if not better, because you can spray it with Liberty, you can spray it with Roundup, and it has a little bit of tolerance to the HPPD herbicides.
27s.
So there's a lot of advantages there. I feel really, really comfortable pushing that direction. If you were to go to an Enlist lineup, I think the Kennedy has a really, really nice fit for the same thing. We talked about that in previous episodes. So don't be afraid of the new Truman. I think it's an excellent, excellent variety. It'll probably be one of our number 1 sellers on the LLGT27 lineup. So.
Well, I just looked at the numbers, and it is currently the number 1 selling LLGT27 line we have, and I agree with you, Ben. I've looked at the numbers and concluded that the new Truman LLGT27 is a better or just as good a choice as the Truman Liberty soybean that it's replacing. And you get up, like say, you get the benefits of the extra traits for herbicide weed control.
Yeah, and we learned something kind of interesting yesterday, didn't we, about the amount of HPPD herbicides used by state
On corn.
and in the corn lineup. And 50% of row crop acres of corn acres in Missouri are touched by HPPD herbicides. That number gets as high as 85 in Iowa and as high as 90 in Illinois. So these LLGT27s, if there would ever be a carryover issue, if we would run into late application or
Like we had last year.
or a major lack of rainfall late in season, these LLGT27s have a phenomenal fit because
So-
they can handle a little bit of
So
resistance.
if you're following a HPPD product in your corn, come back with a LibertyLink GT27 because of the tolerance to the HPPD herbicides, you're just not going to see the stunting and the slower growth with that product. And I would say this year, if it's ever going to show up, it's going to be this year because of, we were putting on herbicides late June and early July in the group 27 area.
Yep. So I really confident in the lineup. I'm not going to knock in list. I'm not going to, but everything has a fit here, and I'm really excited about all the products we got. So.
I had a question yesterday or the day before. It was about, a guy asked me what yields better, Enlist or LLGT27. I said that's a hard question to answer just for the simple fact of they all have their place for different scenarios, and they're all really good beans, and I think we have a great lineup, especially those Trumans and even the Kennedys, be able to widely adapted with great Phytophthora tolerances, and so it's just more of a fit versus yield, so to speak.
Yeah, and Tommy, the right answer is traits don't do anything for yield.
Right.
It's the soybean genetics. So you pick soybean genetics, and then hopefully you got the right trait that matches it.
They'll both give it clean fields.
They'll give you clean fields. They'll give you high yields. I mean, these are the latest products. 70% of our lineup is brand new, fresh. That we didn't have last year. So, 70% came from South America. It's actually much higher than that as far as our total lineup. So, yeah.
Placement is key.
That's correct. Tommy, what do you have for us today?
I just want to do a reminder here. We got the January 15th coming up next Wednesday, and we have a very big discount. Now, obviously, if you haven't got your seed ordered by then, it's a very good opportunity to take advantage of the 0% John Deere Financial, same as cash option. If you can't get things ordered or taken care of before then, it's okay. It's just a 2% difference, 2% processing fee, but it's really important to kind of take advantage, especially when your return on your investment is important, and the front part of a lot of farmers' minds right now is that you really want to take advantage of that. So next Wednesday is the big discount period.
That's where it's zero cost to the farmer. And then
Zero.
And after the 15th, we go up 2%.
Yes, sir. And then another big part of that is deliveries. We keep stressing about getting your seed shipped, get it in your shed. We know for a fact that there's not enough Enlist soybeans to go across the United States of what we're selling, especially for what have been told that's been sold in the Midwest. There is not enough seed in the United States to cover that. So make sure you got what you ordered, make sure it's in your shed, make sure your planter's ready because we know it's going to be in early spring. Be ahead of the curve because it's going to be a nightmare to get seed delivered for anybody this spring.
Particularly when the weather starts getting worse.
Absolutely.
And then if that other company can't deliver their product, give us a call.
Absolutely.
We've got product.
Yeah, we're going to try to be in a good position at planning time to take in season orders. So that's one of the things we're working on right now. What I'd like to talk about is a couple things. You probably noticed I'm wearing my Hawkeye gear today, and you say, "What? Joe's out of uniform." Definitely out of uniform. But I wanted to bring up something that Mershman Seeds does for the Children's Hospital, the University of Iowa Children's Hospital in Iowa City, and we had a program. We've had it for the last few years, where every time the opposing quarterback gets sacked, Mershman Seeds sack they call it, and we donate $150 to the Children's Hospital. And this last week, we gave a check to them for $4,950 for the number of quarterback sacks on the opposing team that the University of Iowa Hawkeyes had. And I wanted to also mention that a good friend of ours, Bill Bywater, who runs and operates Bankers Advertising, a specialty company that does a lot of our premium items, he saw that we were just a little bit short of $5,000, so he kicked in a little bit more to kick it over $5,000. Hats off to Bill and the kids at the University of Iowa Children's Hospital benefit from that.
So Joe, every time the opposing team, or every time the Hawkeyes sack the opposing quarterback, it's a donation to the Children's Hospital.
$150. Yep.
That's awesome.
So we're going to end this session today with a little something, but I won't. Just stay tuned because you'll see it at the end. But there's one last thing I'd like to go over before we depart, and that's because next week's episode is going to be action-packed. And the reason why is Ben and Tommy and Carly are headed to the Independent Professional Seed Association, which is in Kansas City, which is where all the independent seed companies get together, bring in some of the top speakers in the country to collectively try to do a better job in running their businesses and helping farmers. And so you guys are going to come back with a ton of new information that could potentially help our customers. And then Turk and I, just ironically, we're going to the Land Expo conference in Des Moines, which has 23 of the top speakers in the country that have to deal with all aspects of farming. And, one of their keynote speakers a year ago was Martha Stewart. So, I mean, it's a really high-level conference. There's about 900 people that attended at the event center in downtown Des Moines. So we've been going to it the last 2 years, and we found it extremely beneficial for new information to help run businesses and farms. So we will be bringing all of that summary information to you next week. So be ready for an action-packed Cup of Joe next week with a lot of new information that can hopefully help you. So we'd like to end this episode as a tribute to the Children's Hospital and what the entire 70,000 plus Hawkeye fans do at the end of the first quarter. They wave to the Children's Hospital, and all the kids up there at the top level, top floor, wave back. So we'll conclude today's episode with the Hawkeye wave. See you next week.
Thanks, guys.